That famous song, Oh You Do, it's a bit of a rock pop anthem. War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Covered, of course, by Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and most famously, I think, made well into a huge hit by the wonderful singer Edwin Starr. Who remembers Contact? Happy Radio. They were all great hits, weren't they? It's funny, isn't it? You hear a song on the radio, logs in your head, takes you right back. Am I right? Back as ever, though, to your story of the day, because this really, as I say, when you think about the war that we talk about, it's a strange world that we live in. And as ever, let me explain. You see, as we're all very aware over here, well, in the rest of the world, there's currently a battle going on, the war in Ukraine. We're all asked to support it. And of course, people are putting out flags, and for a while at least, were asked by the government to take in Ukraine refugees, invite them into their homes. Then we read some of the stories, of course, ungrateful people. But that, of course, happens in any spectre of the world. People are like that, they take advantage. But really, it's the man at the top that's creating quite a few negative headlines. President Zelensky, a former reality TV star, stand-up comedian, and more importantly, desperate for fame, some people are saying. What's interesting recently also is he requested if he could speak at the Eurovision Song Contest. They declined, the BBC, a rather wise move. He then suggested a pre-recorded address. They simply declined, saying it's not a political event, and even though they were hosting it in Liverpool on behalf of Ukraine, didn't feel it was appropriate. But truly, how busy is this president? It seems to me, and a lot of people, that he's doing incredibly well. And when you think about it, recently he was asked once again if he could speak at the Oscar ceremony out in Hollywood. The previous year, he asked the same thing, and on both occasions, they declined. But in this intermittent period, we've seen obviously rock stars willing to be pictured next to him, world leaders, British Vogue, International Vogue, photographing him at home, which has led many to believe that in fact Mr. Zelensky does enjoy the limelight a little bit too much. Most recently, of course, he had a meeting with our British Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Rishi Sunak. And much to the dismay of the population over here, once again Mr. Sunak agreed to supply endless equipment to make sure that they were right in their quest moving forward. Now, I'm not here to cast aspersions on either side. We don't know the full facts about the war in Ukraine against Russia. But the bottom line is what people are now suggesting over here, not necessarily the mainstream media, but the more level-headed of people, is simply this. Really, every single day there's a brand new publicity opportunity afforded to Mr. Zelensky, President Zelensky. But moving forward also, who's it benefiting? The people of Ukraine to put an end to this terrible war, or indeed making sure that he becomes an international leader? And let's not forget, his icon is none other than the renowned British leader, Sir Winston Churchill. So is his quest more that than actually solving the problem in hand? Oh, and by the way, two more Hollywood stars are flying out this particular weekend to make sure that they can be videoed and photographed alongside him. So as they often say, who's benefiting the most? I'd love to know your thoughts and comments in the spaces below as ever. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.